Everybody, looks like I'm the only person that's on the committee that's here so far. So we'll see if others come in and we might just have a very simple meeting. So just a minute or two. All right, so it looks like we have technically a quorum of the two of us and Commissioner Diamond. I was here too, so we can even consider it a three-person committee meeting. This is the April 2025 meeting of ANC 1C's Alcoholic Beverage Control and Public Safety meeting. The bad news is the business owner is basically the only agenda item. Well, sort of. They're not here. I did give them sort of late notice, so if they don't come up in the next like minute or two, I can invite them to speak at our just full May meeting, and we just wouldn't have committee support, which is kind of arbitrary anyway. So I'll just hold off a second on that. We have a long list of restaurant renewals this month. I think we've discussed this. I forget if it was here at this meeting last month or just kind of through online but not official record discussion amongst commissioners that with renewals, basically ANSI doesn't have to do anything. If we choose to, it's more or less to try to negotiate something that we want the business to do better. It has happened rarely in the past, but the vast majority of renewals, at least that I've been exposed to, the ANC just kind of had a meeting, had it on the agenda, and said, if anything seems off here, anyone on the commission or in the community can bring it to our attention, but don't have to take
Peter, quick
it.
question. So when we get these notices, I've just been reading them and putting them in a folder. Should we be doing anything else?
You don't even have to do that. I mean, as the chair of this committee, I put it on the agendas, but basically they just kind of mass send out stuff like that. Like just a few, actually, before I said that, Commissioner Michelson Horowitz, you had something?
Oh, yeah, I also, unless I hear objections or concerns from neighbors, I'm generally supportive of these renewals. And the question I had was about the presentation or request from the Business Improvement District regarding restaurants that may want to amend their settlement agreements to permit bar crawls. None of the renewals here affect that restriction in their settlement agreements, and that's outside of this process. Is that right?
As far as I know, I mean, as far as could tell, the bid basically just kind of wrote an unprompted letter, on their own volition, saying this is something that we'd like to be considered to be changed. We discussed this a bit with, I think Brian's here, so he was a party to that discussion last time. But basically, if I recall correctly, the ABCA response was that's something that has to be negotiated on an individual settlement agreement basis, and all of the parties that are on the settlement agreements have to agree to that. At the meeting, the president of the Calorama Citizens Association said that they have no interest in ever budging on that ever, and then later in the same meeting suggested that they might be open to budging occasionally. So who knows? But ANC is a party to some, but not all of those. But I don't. There's not like a blanket policy in place that says Adams Morgan, because of the moratorium zone, can't have that. It's the moratorium zone it's specific things that, as far as I remember, it doesn't include that. So this is just super standard, like all of DC has this happen periodically based on the type of licenses. The last time it wasn't for restaurant, it was for, I forget the specific term, but off-premise consumption, it was Harris Teeter, so grocery store. Did actually negotiate them a bit, and they were really responsive. And so it's like basically, no one really says it, but it's like one of the few opportunities where an ANC has leverage over establishments, which in some cases kind of unfortunate because like the liquor license part is arbitrary. It might be other stuff that has nothing to do with liquor sales that might be the issue. Like with Harris Teeter, that was it. Like selling liquor was completely unrelated to the smell of the garbage pit on the side. It was just, well, this is a chance that we can get in the way of something and hopefully they will be responsive, and they were really good. But in other cases, I mean, it can be a good thing if you're really looking to change a bad actor's behavior, or an actor that might not be aware of problematic kind of behavior. But sometimes people weaponize it, at least in the past. So yeah.
Okay, thanks for confirming. Yeah, I'm supportive of all the renewals, and we'll be happy to hear a presentation from the one business on the agenda, if they arrive.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes to it, we can just like they don't have to present at the committee meeting. We've had it in the past. It's been a while, like since I've tried to shift to the committee meeting just to keep the main meetings from getting longer. But if it comes to it, I'll write him again. And I called him and he just was busy, so he didn't speak very long. But they exist, and they're aware. But if it comes to it, and if they decide not to show up, we can just discuss. And I think my position would be, yeah, I can't form an opinion if you're not giving me more information. So I think that I don't actually know how it goes for cannabis, at least for alcohol. ANC support isn't required to get a license. It's just helpful in the application unless you want a stipulated license. For cannabis, I'm not sure if they have the same mentality at ABCA, because obviously different types of substances and different approaches to how they're dealt with. So maybe they really want, it's probably something I should ask, or one of us could ask ABCA to see if there's like the need to have ANC support to move it forward. I don't think it's the case, but could confirm.
Hey, guys, before anybody else comes on,
I don't think they will.
did you have a chance to figure out where we should have our garbage pickup at the end of at cleanup day? Peter, do you think that Rock Creek Park, right at the end of Biltmore is good?
Sounds fine to me. I mean, just any place that's not going to get in the way of people, I would guess. And it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Daniel, I didn't know a good spot on your end. So do you think like, Marie Reed, like where the composting bin is that good?
Yeah, there were a few more emails. Marie Reed, that sounds great to me.
Okay.
That plaza in front of the school is a great pickup spot. And if we can only have 3 in the neighborhood, um, I would love for Colorado Park to be one, just because it's gonna be a lot of the scene of the pickup. Um, uh,
Well, we could do instead of Biltmore Street, we could do Calorama Park because I mean, I don't know how many people are going to show up, but if we all meet at a central spot and then fan out and we just know where we need to end up with the bags of garbage, I think we're fine.
Yeah.
All right, I'll look at the emails and like at Colorama Park, it's fine because my group, we had start at one end of Biltmore and end at Colorama Park, so that's fine if you think that's good.
Yeah, I think that's a very well-known location, be easy for folks to find that, but then
Well, it's a matter of where we need to leave the trash for the trash pickup.
right in front of the rec center is a pretty well-known spot right there.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good.
Anyways, yeah.
So just back to tonight's agenda, and we can probably just adjourn because I don't think they're gonna show up.
Yep.
But I'll invite them to the May meeting, our main ANC meeting, and hopefully can come to discuss their cannabis
Okay.
application. Like 15 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, a lot of other renewals came in. I didn't put them on the agenda for this because like 20 minutes is too little notice, but the deadline for protesting is also like, it's one of those things where like if we were to discuss it on next month's committee meeting, we wouldn't potentially be able to have it on our regular meeting till June, which is past the deadline for protesting. So I think we're just going to put on our May meetings agenda just like these are renewals up for discussion type of thing to make it clear that it's there and that we gave notice, but also that it's not like a list of restaurants that we're going to discuss everyone. I'll think of ways to phrase it to make it sure it's clear, because there will definitely be people in the community who think
Yep.
that we're trying to discuss every single license, and it does not warrant that, because most
Sounds
of
good to me.
Well, this was a nice meeting. Good to see you
Yeah.
guys. And if it isn't obvious, from what I said last full meeting, this will be probably my last time on the ABC committee as I prepare to move just a few blocks away, but outside of my SMD. So it's been a pleasure to serve here for a few months, and looking forward to staying engaged.
You can, if there's any of the bordering, like what, U Street, Florida Avenue establishments that you want to come in and get upset about their renewal applications, that would be the next thing. But all seriousness, yeah, appreciate your service, and we'll miss you too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay,
Goodbye.
have a good
All
night.
right. Bye.
Meeting
Bye.
adjourned. Thanks, Sean.